Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a woman who hangs out in boats hoping that giant monsters will chase her. It's Megan Hoffmeyer.
How did you know that was my favorite hobby?
Every time I go out somewhere, I see you like in the middle of a pond, in a lake. We went to Savannah, you got in the Atlantic.
Oh.
Every body of swimming pools.
I thought I was being pretty stealthy about it.
No, you took a tugboat out into the Atlantic.
I guess there's nothing
And
stealthy about a tugboat.
you were screaming, "Hey, monsters, come get me." I mean, I've been doing the same thing for years, so I'm pretty happy that you're following my lead with monster hunting.
It's going to be a family thing. I wanted us to have an activity together.
I feel like that's the opposite reaction we should have from Godzilla Minus One, because it's a movie about just loss and grief
True.
and moving on. And we're like, "Hey, monsters, come get us."
Listen, we're a stronger family unit. There's a whole family message there too.
Yeah, that's true. Little Mal.
You know, we watched Monster Hunter back in the day. We've got Godzilla Minus One. It's a thing.
I'd fight a monster.
You talk about sea monsters all the time.
All the time. I'm telling you, if any monster messed with Mallory, I'd fight it.
Oh, for sure. That monster's going down.
Like TMZ would have footage of me running up to Godzilla and then just getting squished. But I would definitely try to avenge it. You know what? I couldn't take Godzilla out, but I would like to annoy Godzilla. So Godzilla's like, puny human, but then he's like, "Oh, something's in my foot." And I just maybe got like a pitchfork shoved up there or something. And it's like a splinter.
I mean, enough of those little things. It'll take him down eventually.
Just have him step on mini rakes. What if you make a rake large enough?
Legos.
Yeah, just lay out billions of Legos and Godzilla steps on all of them.
Perfect.
That'd be...
I think we figured it out. Why didn't they do that?
It's like Home Alone, but you'd have to build a giant home.
Can you imagine a Home Alone with Godzilla?
How big would the paint can have to be? It'd be like a dump truck.
Yeah, like the size of a container ship, maybe?
You know, those concrete, like the concrete trucks? It would have to be one of those.
Cement mixer.
Cement mixer, but filled with paint to hit Godzilla in the face. This movie's being made. We're making it happen. But Megan, another year, another Movies, Films, and Flicks Random Awards. We've been doing this since 2010, on the podcast since 2015. It's good, but overall.
To the point where we had to have two. We have mid-year and we have end of year.
There's just too many.
There are, yeah.
It's been a really good year for movies. This has probably been one of my more favorite years for movies since last year.
I know, it's tough. I had such a crisis trying to put together a top. They're not even ranked. I just have a top 10. And I didn't even want to commit to 10. I was like 9, and I cannot place the last one.
Okay, well, what is your top 10 from this year?
Oh, okay.
Before we get into our random awards, what's your top 10?
In no specific order, The Zone of Interest, Perfect Days, Full Time, They Clone Tyrone, Poor Things, Priscilla, The Boy and the Heron, Sisu, Past Lives, and then I really couldn't fill the last spot, so I'm gonna just give it to Godzilla Minus One, because I had a great time. It was an epic monster movie. I just love the score.
Oh, it's so good. I need that vinyl. I can't find it, though. And just blare it whenever Mallory wakes up.
Oh my
and
gosh.
comes downstairs.
The little monster.
Yeah. Mallory's our daughter, by the way. All right, so our list is pretty close, because my top 10 is Fist of the Condor, Past Lives, Sisu, Asteroid City, Full Time, Polite Society, Plane, Perfect Days, Priscilla, and Blackberry.
Okay.
And so those are my favorite. I'm not going to say they're the best. Like, I think Zone of Interest is incredible. I think Oppenheimer's incredible. I think Barbie's great. But the movies that I think about the most, like Blackberry's been in my mind. Full Time floored me. Asteroid
City.
In
your mind full time?
Yeah, Full Time's been in my mind full time. Perfect Days. It's just been really sitting there with me. Plane, that's all I talk about. Just Polite Society. Whenever I think about that movie, I smile. And like Fist of the Condor, Marco Zarrar. So my list is basically movies I think about the most, or movies that floored me, or movies that had an effect on me, like Priscilla, like the way Sofia Coppola directed that, or the ending of Full Time, which it's like an entire stress bomb of a movie, then you get some catharsis, or Past Lives, which is just beautiful. I'd actually be happy if Past Lives and Holdovers dominated all the acting awards. Those two movies.
Yeah, they were incredible.
Maybe in Asteroid City. I think Johansson's getting slept on here.
Oh, true. And Jason Schwartzman was really good.
Yeah, I mean, supporting they could be up for. I would love to see her nominated for that. I mean, she gets nominated all the time. But still, Asteroid City's legit. So you ready for our random awards?
I am so ready. I've been ready for months. Not really, because we've been crushing movies for the past few weeks. But I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, I'll let you go first.
Okay, my first award. I have had this sitting here since we saw the movie when it came out just past mid-year, and that is when I found out about the patriarchy wasn't about horses, I lost interest. From Barbie. That's the award.
He's so over the top, Gosling, and he's beautiful in it though.
He's something else. It does sometimes feel like he's in a different movie, but it's very entertaining.
So I watched it again because I'm going to be covering on the podcast. And during that beach fight, he and Simu Liu are blowing other Kens away with their ab power. Like, they open up their vests and their abs blow people away.
Oh, gosh.
But he's so good in it. Barbie's a smart, not brave, but for a big budget toy movie from Mattel, to go that deep into kind of messaging and a very smart way how to do it.
I'm very impressed that it got the traction that it did.
And also, I think you can watch Barbie with kind of your lizard brain and just be like, bright colors and dumb people and fun.
Yeah, true. You can just watch it for entertainment value, or you can watch it and be like, yes, I support this agenda.
And, like Women Talking, right? I love that movie, and it deserved all the praise. But you can't watch that movie with your lizard brain. Like, you just got to sit there.
No, you have to watch that movie for hurt.
You can watch.
It's like you want to be in pain, so you watch that movie.
And you watch Barbie, you can have fun with it, or you could just absorb them. Like, it's a 4-quadrant movie, even though a lot of people hated it. I don't know if it's a 4-quadrant movie, but
3-quadrant.
3-quadrant. But Greta's and Noah, the way they wrote that script, it's wonderful. It's perfect. I love it. Okay, my first one. We're gonna get this out of the way in case I cry. So it's a You Made Me Cry award, and that's from Insidious 5, the finale of it.
Aw, I made the wall.
When he said, I made the wall. And you know what's interesting? I was doing some research about this movie, and it was originally all about Ty Simpkins' character, Dalton, going to college. So different demons, no lipstick demon, none of that. But Patrick Wilson was like, I'm directing this, so I need a way in. He's like, we need Rose. We need the kids back. And he said, like, I need this movie to be about families. Like, I'm going to get Rose. I want the kids back. I want Ty as Dalton. And I want it to be a father-son relationship. I want to unpack everything from the end of 2. I want it to be the Lambert trilogy. That's what I want. That's what Patrick Wilson said. I got goosebumps reading that. But that finale of it, when he made the wall and there's that picture of him carrying his son through the further from the first movie. It's just, like, I got goosebumps talking about it. And my eyes welled up bigger than any well from The Ring or any movie. They just welled up. They were like, it was such an emotional beat. And I love Insidious movies because they're about good people battling really terrible things. Like,
and making pretty smart decisions, too. They listen to their family, typically. They're actually all very reasonable.
They move in the first one. And the thing is, they've just been followed. So it's not, they didn't, this isn't I Know What You Did Last Summer. They aren't horny camp counselors. They didn't kill a kid and have her mom want revenge. They're just very unlucky.
They don't go extra angry and just be like, I'm not going to listen to sense because I'm annoyed at you. They listen. Yeah,
they're all quite smart. Mm-hmm. Ugh, so good. And also, too, in the first one, the son gets put up in a bed at their house, so you can't really leave the house. You have to be there with your son in case something happens. And just the way the way this franchise has existed and kept making money. I mean, Insidious: The Red Door is the highest grossing 5th entry in a horror film ever, a horror franchise ever. Adjusted for inflation, too. It's made more money than all the other 5th entries.
And we get a little Lin Shaye.
Little Lin Shaye. Little Lin Shaye has a little role.
Isn't there a cool fact about her? Isn't she the oldest person to headline a
horror movie that made over 180 million?
Right.
She was in her 70s when she
impressive.
did. Yeah. So you look through these movies, and 70-plus-year-old Lin Shaye was in a movie that made $100 million, and she was the star. Mm-hmm. I love it. Don't get me. I'm doing a whole series in 2024 with David Cross about Insidious, so I very much so look forward to that. It's going to be great. What's your second award?
Okay. This is the award for... This is some governmental shit. A pimp and a hoe and a drug dealer walk into a bar. If we're going to buy into the insanity, let a pimp freshen up. Award from They Clone Tyrone, which is truly just... You talk about crafting these lists of things that we think about, and I think about They Clone Tyrone. Tanoia Paris as Yo-Yo, hilarious. Jamie Foxx as Slick Charles, again, very hilarious. It is just... It was a surprise movie that sort of dropped on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And I was addicted to it.
And knowing how John Boyega, watching him in the central role, just how stoic he is and how little words, but it doesn't feel like he's acting. It feels really natural. He's such a good actor. And that elevator scene when they're singing, just acting like idiots. Jamie Foxx, Slick Charles?
Slick Charles.
Oh my gosh.
A pimp.
What's your favorite moment? Do you have favorite moments from that movie, or is that the
time,
line since you gave it the award?
Most of the interactions between Yo-Yo and Slick Charles, Shanoia Paris is hilarious. Listen, she was great in the Marvel properties, in WandaVision, in the Marvels. She's fantastic, but she really, really shines here.
It's like Sebastian Stan when he gets away from Captain America.
Oh my gosh.
He's a weirdo.
Sebastian Stan is the best away from Marvel.
Get him away. They're funny. Take him away from those movies. Unless,
I love him in Logan Lucky.
Oh yeah, he is all centered. He's good in Dumb Money, too.
His CPU has to be running optimally.
Okay. I got another emotional one here.
Okay.
What's going on here? I'm doing...
I don't know. I'm bringing the funny stuff.
I'm doing best luggage work, and that's from Past Lives at the end when they're waiting for the Uber.
What a scene.
And just, Celine's song, she based it on a true story that happened to her in her life, and she was talking about her professor. Her professor once said that if you make something that you yourself are so excited and enthusiastic about, or something that you love yourself so much that you believe in and you think is true, because you're a person, not an alien, they're gonna be other people who also connect to it as fellow humans. So she directed something that she cared about a lot, and she was with her husband one night, and she was out with like her childhood crush too, and he only spoke Korean, her husband only speaks English. So she was talking back and forth. And
as the scene at the bar.
Yeah, and as she was sitting there, she went, you know what? This would be pretty good for a movie. And so, what's all really interesting too is Celine Song, she kept the husband and Hae Sung and away from each other for the entire... So when they met for the first time, that was the first time they came across each other ever. Mm. So the way they look at each other was like their first reaction towards each other. She's like, it took some work, but we did it. So just everything about that movie, the final scene... The research I did about it, just, I don't know. It's a beautiful movie, and just reading about how they shot this, and then the finale with the luggage and the waiting, none of it's precious. It's all good and natural and organic, and I think it's just because she was excited and enthusiastic to make it, and you feel that on screen.
Yeah, the movie gives its characters a lot of space to breathe and have emotion fill a scene, as opposed to... more physicality or a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of them talking over various methods of communication, and then they sort of fill that with emotions, which is really, I think that's what makes a movie. Especially building to that last scene.
And also, too, they don't talk to each other much in real life, and so when they're together, you probably do struggle for words sometimes. You're kind of this idea, and it's just perfect. I love it so much. So yeah, that's my Past Lives award. Best luggage work. Good luggage work. Probably the best luggage work since Spaceballs.
Okay.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm gonna
say
it.
But what about the Darjeeling Limited?
Oh. Yeah. Well, Darjeeling... Oh,
listen,
gosh.
it's a once in a 20-year thing. Let's just give it that.
Yeah, yeah, once every 20 years. Because that was about 19 years ago when Darjeeling came out. Maybe longer. I don't want... You got me all mixed up now. Let's move on to... Because okay.
Lots of emotional films with luggage.
Best luggage that doesn't represent your familial problems.
Baggage.
Yeah, your literal baggage.
Although it could.
No, because they're just hanging out. Okay. Like it's a roller suitcase. It's good luggage work, but it's not a metaphor for anything. So best non-metaphor luggage work.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, we got there. Okay, hey, wait. Before we go, I got a ton of people sending me, not a ton, but I got a bunch of people sending me random awards. So I want to read some.
I've been waiting to hear these.
So I want to read some real quick. So Aaron Newworth sent me a bunch of the Out Now with Aaron and A podcast.
Wow,
I'm a guest on his show.
List.
I'm a guest on his show. I do some of the commentaries with him on his things. He's one of my favorite movie critics. So you got to go check out Aaron Newworth. But he did the Peanuts Award for Best Use of Snoopy, Maestro. Best Director Cameo, Martin Scorsese from Killers of the Flower Moon. Best use of a WeWork, The Killer. Best use of oversized genitalia, Beau is Afraid. Best robot that should have been a linebacker in the NFL, The Creator. Best use of a nuclear bomb imagery as an evocative reminder of the past, Godzilla Minus One and Oppenheimer. Best matching of costumes to guns, Priscilla, which I was going to do, but that's perfect, so I'm not going to do. Best axe to the face when evil lurks. Best Road Trip, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Best Josh Hartnett performance, Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre. Best Prison Warden, Jawan. Best take on the phrase, I'll allow it, but I'm watching you, counselor, The Burial. Best Powell and Pressburger homage, Barbie. Best Mad Scientist, Ty. Viola Davis in The Hunger Games, and Layla De Leon Hayes in The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. Best conversion of a Mexican warehouse into a torture chamber, Saw 10. And most surprisingly good remake, River Wild.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It's good.
I'll have to watch it.
And then I'll do one more. Eric Hoffmeyer, Best Ill-Fated Getaway Attempt, No Hard Feelings. And Funniest Web Shooting, T-Rex, Baby Arms, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah. There are some good bits in that movie.
Oh, that was good. So thank you, Eric and Aaron, and we'll get to more as we go along. So what's your next one, Meg?
Ooh, okay, where am I?
I say that all the time.
The Rosa Parks Sweatshirt Award goes to The Blackening. What if I... Okay, so to explain it a little bit, one of the lead characters is wearing a Rosa Parks sweatshirt, and this crew is running from a killer. And someone says to her, right before a really good sort of kung fu fight that she has, she drops some moves on that killer in the woods. And she says, no, someone else tells her, oh gosh, what's the line? You know, you have a Rosa Parks sweatshirt on right now. She wouldn't be sitting down right now. And the character goes, that's exactly what she did. Yeah. I looked it up a little bit earlier. That sweatshirt is blowing up online.
Good.
Which is really fun.
I thought maybe you'd go with best usage of calling firefighters instead of police.
Oh my gosh. Or best quiz questions involving Friends episodes.
I don't watch Friends, but I think it's Central Perk, right? So I was talking about this with Zanandi, and you and I have talked about this. Like, what I liked the most about The Blackening is there's so many bits and jokes, but it never slows the movie down. It's never... It doesn't really even feel that improv. If it was all improv, it would just grind the movie to a halt. But the bits all work together, which is really hard. Like, it's hard. And the energy they keep up in that movie.
No, that's totally fair. They seem to have constructed these sort of bits, almost sketches, into just different set pieces that move the story along. Instead of stopping it, like, I had one cool idea, let's do this bit. But those are the set pieces of the story. When they go downstairs to the basement and they're playing the Blackening game, and there's a bunch of crazy questions. There's a scene in the basement again when they're all arguing over who's the blackest, and there's one upstairs where they have we can't split up because that's a cultural thing. So there's a lot of good little bits like that, but it's all part of the story.
It's and it works so well. It could just feel overly improv like some of these movies do, like maybe Thor: Love and Thunder or other films, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, Grace Byers as Allison really lights up the screen. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
she's the one with the Rosa Parks sweatshirt on.
I was talking to some of my students about her, and they're like, "We love her. She's hilarious. Like she's the standout. I love her in that movie." Okay, so I'm gonna do this. This originally was best securing of a phone number, but I'm gonna switch it because you're gonna like this. I'm gonna do best Jim Jarmusch reference.
Oh,
and that goes to Fallen Leaves, which is a Finnish film that came out. That's released by Mubi. It's hopefully gonna get nominated for best international feature film, but the director, he just loves adding, like, he loves movie references. So he has Chaplin in this film. He also has Dead Don't Die. So when the two main characters, Ansa and Jalapa, they go on a date, they go see the Dead Don't Die. But his framing is so Jim.
I love that.
And but if you watch it between Fremont and Fallen Leaves, I feel very lazy saying this, but they're very Jim Jarmuschian, and every reviewer says it. It feels kind of lazy, but you feel the tone, you feel it, but they work.
Right, but he has such a specific style. It's like when people go, "Oh, it's so Wes Anderson." It's such a specific style. I think it's fair to call it out because not other filmmakers don't typically look like that.
Very true, and I would say these two movies definitely have that feel. Like Fallen Leaves, though, isn't as hipstery or like. So in
yeah, he loves his hipsters.
In Fallen Leaves, in Fallen Leaves, it's just a blue collar woman who takes pride in her work. And I was reading I was reading an interview, and they were talking about Ansa, and Ansa means trapped in Finnish. So like she's trapped where she is, but she works really hard. She takes pride in her work. She'll take any job. And she goes, "This film is about lonely people with baggage." Oh no, who meet later in life. It takes courage to fall in love later in life. And so, Jalapa, he drinks way too much and he gets fired from his job. but he's still like a good looking cat. He's very Jim Jarmuschian in that regard. And it's just very, I don't know. It's one of those movies that you should feel how stylish it is. But the director, Kaurismäki, he's been making movies for a long time, so he knows what he's doing. But I figured you would love The Dead Don't Die.
That makes me so happy. That movie needs more love. I know that people watch it and just think it's weird, but I disagree. It is weird, but it's delightful. And
also, too, I like what the director had to say about Chaplin. He's like a master of self-restraint, short but meaningful sentences. Like, so he liked how Chaplin kept it simple. And so his work is really self-restrained, and the sentences are very meaningful. There's very few, I do think Jim Jarmusch can have long conversations. Mm-hmm. This movie doesn't have that. It's more meaningful sentences, but okay. It's film. I guess it's filmed with a static camera. There's not much roving going on, and it's kind of about outsiders in life, blue-collared people in life, and it's lovely. But The Dead Don't Die in it.
A little like Stranger Than Paradise, but
there's not a road trip.
Oh, okay.
No road tripping. Or where's she from? Polish? He's like, are there a lot of Polish people in
Oh, yeah.
Shut up.
Oh, because he sees all the churches.
In Cincinnati or something like that. Oh, I love that guy. All right, what's your next award?
Okay, my next award is the No, Absolutely Not award from Flora and Son.
Oh, yeah.
John Carney, written and directed John Carney film. Just a delight. Please go find this film and watch it. Eve Hewson played Florida, and at the end, there's a whole set piece that they've been building to where they're playing on a stage as a band, which feels like a very John Carney thing to happen in a movie. But her ex-husband, he starts to riff, and the lead, Eve, looks at him and says, "No, absolutely not."
She's so good, isn't she?
Very funny. Lots of attitude.
Yeah, he starts wailing on his bass. Jack Rayner, who's in Sing Street as well. And so he's back here.
More band pieces.
And she no, because it was about the son, not him.
Yeah, it was about the son who wanted to be part of the music competition and learn. And he mixed his own music on his laptop. And she wasn't going to let the dad take that from him.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's really good.
I know. I was just thinking it's because that scene is just about their family. But he was so good. Actually, no, he played... I don't want to give it all away on the Zoom.
I will say Eve Hewson, I know she's Bono's daughter, so it's like, I hate the nepotism thing, but like she really pulls off being this sort of...
No, she does a great job.
I know you can be an actor, but like I guess when I heard that Bono's daughter was in it, I'm like, what? And then I watched her and I was like, okay, she's great. Mm-hmm. Like she immediately inhabits that character. So it's good. Really good. I had to read a lot of interviews where they kept asking her about it.
Well, but I also read some interviews with John Carney when he said he auditioned her and met her and said he felt like she was the character. I mean, ultimately, that's up for him to decide if he feels that it's authentic, and she was great.
She's great. Like, she's one of the...
It wasn't distracting at all. I also didn't know who she was. You had to tell me that.
I would say if there was a character who came fully realized this year already on screen, it was probably her.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because just like, as soon as you meet her, you know the character, and that's good acting. Mm-hmm. All right. Also, too, so I have a question for you, Meg.
Okay.
Since we're talking about Flora and Son, which 5, like, so you're being shipped to a desert island, which I feel terrible about because Mallory and I would miss you. But you get to bring 5 2023 movies with you. Well stocked. Like, when people pick you up 6 months later, you'll look exactly like you do. Your hair will be cut. You'll have nice coffee. You won't want for anything. You can Skype us, like, we can fly there for whenever. But you can only watch 5 movies.
That's fine.
So which 5 movies?
As long as I have good coffee, we're fine.
What 2023 movies would you take?
Okay, so I've got them here. Desert Island, it's different, obviously. Well, it's different than my top 10. Because those are the movies I think about, but these are movies I'd want to watch, obviously, on a desert island. Also, I have a surprise for you. 2023 Desert Island, They Clone Tyrone. Very funny, very rewatchable. Got a lot of great themes, but it's still quite funny. It's got enough light bits that it's not going to be distracting or upsetting. Dungeons and Dragons. Endlessly watchable and very funny. Pudgy Dragons, all day long.
Tame Impala.
Jonathan. Bits, fantastic. Perfect Days. It's just so mellow. There are some emotional beats in it, but it's just so easy and calm to watch. It feels very calming. There were some movies this year that were quite stressful.
Yeah, you don't want to be as stressed on a desert island.
No. I could just put Perfect Days on and be happy. There's beautiful scenery. There's wonderful story. Plain.
Very good movie.
Joyride.
Then Joyride.
Because it's just so funny. I think I've seen it twice now.
It's a good flick.
Okay, so also you and I were riffing on this. I said, is it desert island or is it deserted island? Because these could mean different things. Or is it a desert island?
I mean, you have a whole dessert.
But we decided that it was, there would be dessert on a deserted desert island, and that made me come up with a desert island list.
What's that?
From 2023.
What do you got?
Wonka.
Ooh.
Because obviously, lots of desserts.
Yeah.
Holdovers, they have Christmas dinner and some dessert. All of Us Strangers, they're drinking some milkshakes. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, because there's a birthday party and Miles has to pick up the cake. And Polite Society, because there's a wedding cake.
Oh my gosh, that's great dessert.
The deserted desert island list.
I'd watch all 10 of those movies. Do you want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, because I could just watch it whenever.
Right.
I think the biggest laugh I had this year was Michelle Rodriguez. She's like, okay, we'll keep your half then. I don't know why, but she's so funny.
Reggae Jean Page, just being serious.
And walking over a rock. He's just going to walk in a straight line.
Straight line.
So, Showing Up, I'm going to do. There's a movie called Showing Up where it's just a chill movie about an artist. Bottoms, because it's insanity. I just think you got to watch something really stupid on an island. So I'm going to do Bottoms. Then I'm going to do Flora and Son. And then I'm going to do Asteroid City. And Jay Cluett, my host of Deep Blue Sea, picked Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, Wonka, Marcel, The Shell, With Shoes On, Babylon, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, because he's in the UK and there's different release dates. I have some more. Tony Coogan of The Wicker Man Minute did Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Nimona, Rye Lane, Wonka, Blackberry, Billy Boyko, Oppenheimer, Knock at the Cabin, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Godzilla Minus One, and The Creator, Zanandi, Meg 2, The Trench, Asteroid City, The Blackening, Leo, and No One Will Save You, Jason Hemming, he has Polite Society, Sanctuary, Priscilla, Godzilla Minus One, Barbie, Tom Tresimer, Battleship,
oh,
D&D,
man,
Honor
that
Among
is the
Thieves.
list.
Yeah.
Good job, Tom.
Nick Rehack, Godzilla Minus One, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Hypnotic, Solar Part 1, and Poor Things. Johnny Numb, Ennie's Men, Oppenheimer, Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, Wrath of Becky, and Infinity Pool. I love that Ennie's Men and Infinity Pool are two movies about terrible times on islands. And he picked those, so I laughed. David Thompson, John Wick Chapter 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Old Boy, because it got a re-release this year. Stop Making Sense, another re-release. And Deep Blue Sea. Thank you, Dave. I love you. Ryan Groff, The Blackening, It's a Wonderful Knife, Red, White, and Royal Blue, The Marvel's Blue Beetle, Andy Golding, Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, Somewhere in Queens, Sazoom, Lola, Pamela, Love Story, Max, Rudy Gilman, Indiana Jones Style Destiny, Ant-Man Quantumania, Shazam, Fear of the Gods, and John Wick 4, Dan Allen Sr., Godzilla Minus One, They Clone Tyrone, Polite Society, Theater Camp, Nimona, Lisa Skippin, Scream 6, Barbie, The Iron Claw, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Saltburn. So thank you for sending in those answers.
To the person who picked Blackberry, do you just like being stressed out?
So good.
Movie is stressful.
It's so good. Oh, so am I up? Is it my pick?
I did Flora and Son. Did you do one?
Okay, so I'm up. Oh, wow. I did All of Us Strangers. I'll go. So All of Us Strangers, I'm going to do the Best Mall Restaurant Scene Award.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just...
Milkshakes.
There's a line that I don't want to give away, but Jamie Bell, who's not getting enough love for his performance, drops a line, and I just like it. More welling up of my eyes.
Who's just always fantastic.
It's not unfair.
It is.
It's unfair. But yeah, Jamie Bell, when he says this particular line, and I found a really neat quote from the director Andrew Hay about the film. He's like, "My films have a single protagonist, even though the other roles are very fundamentally important. I had to get that role of Adam right. I knew that with Andrew, he had that vulnerability. We talked a lot about this idea of someone keeping all of his pain inside and then finding it and finding ways to just leak it to the surface. I think he's just brilliant at showing those moments when his fear or his pain or anxiety or his love or his joy break to the surface." And he's perfect at that, Andrew Scott. Mm-hmm. Like the way he holds things back and the smile and like, I think everything that this director just said, he does really well. So that's my...
I was just trying to think, is there anything that I haven't liked him in? He was fantastic when we met him in Sherlock. He was great in Fleabag. Oh,
perfect.
I watched him in Catherine Called Birdie last year, which, I wrestled with it. Was it fun? Was it quirky? But he was an extremely complex character in what could have been a basic role.
That's why you get Andrew Scott.
He's so good.
Fleabag.
Fleabag.
That's all you need. Like Fleabag.
The foxes are watching us.
Oh, man. but he's very cagey. Right? He can.
Oh yeah.
You don't really know where he's at sometimes, like what he's holding, and he's so good in this movie. And then plus he has
Claire Foy.
Well, and then Paul Mescal and Jamie Bell to act alongside.
Yeah, what a cast!
I will say that this is twice that I've been wrong about calling people kind of like manic pixies. I've been wrong 2 times in a row.
Now they're just playing with you.
Werewolves
now they're coming
Within
for it.
and another one. Like I feel like I should have watched the whole movie before I make that judgment. But yeah, I love that movie, and I think it's excellent. So yeah, I'm gonna say All of Us Strangers.
So good.
All right, what's your next?
My next award is Best Package Throwing from No One Will Save You. Bryn, played by Caitlin Dever, is sort of an outcast, and she's at her house, and like, even to the point where the Amazon driver doesn't like her, so they just show up to her house and chuck packages. It was very funny. It was good product placement, very Amazon-y, but also funny.
Very this movie. So I feel bad. I feel stupid.
This movie made me smile at the end.
I was wrong. I got a screener for this movie, and I was like, "Oh, it looks fun. I'll just watch it later." And I kind of like wrote it off. I don't know why I did that. I think I just had so much to watch. I didn't know much about it. And I guess a couple of the other Hulu exclusive movies didn't really knock my socks off, maybe aside from Prey, which was awesome. But we heard great things about it, and then we watched it, and it just blew me away. I mean, the economy of the movie and her performance and the monster fights. I mean, the guy who directed and wrote it, he wrote Love and Monsters.
Brian Duffy.
Yeah, Brian Duffy. He wrote Spontaneous.
Gosh, love and Monsters.
He wrote Underwater. Like, this guy loves monsters and teenagers exploding. So it's so good.
You got it.
Caitlin's so good, Meg.
She's very good. Well, justified.
Yeah, that's our crew.
Mm-hmm.
But also, the way that they had production design tell the story. The way that there's no expository dialogue. You tell a story with very little words. And learn about her with very little words. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for this one?
I have great memories of it.
Best Whiskey Drinking Award. And it's not going to Brooklyn 45 because those people would be drunk.
What is it?
The Killer.
Oh, okay.
I mean, watching Tilda Swinton as the expert sit across the killer, which is his name, and the killer, and just realize this is her final meal. And she gets to him a little bit.
Yeah, she knows what it is.
She knows, and then he actually drinks some whiskey with her, which I didn't see happening. He took a swig of an entire glass.
He keeps breaking his rules throughout this movie. Constantly.
I mean, he still takes, I don't want to give it away, but she doesn't trick him.
No.
But yeah,
he is constantly he repeats his rules over and over to himself, and then he goes and breaks them.
Someone wrote, you get the sense that she does get through to him in some small way. So he's like staring at the woman who helped brutalize someone he loves. The killer doesn't see a helpless victim, but he doesn't see a cartoonish monster either. He just sees a person, as flawed and as mortal as anyone else, himself included. So, and you know what's interesting? Someone wrote a great write-up about this scene, where this is the one time in the movie, if you think about him, he's on his own a lot. He doesn't talk to many people, or he's having a conversation with people. This is the one scene where we watch him reacting to a monologue. It's like the entire show that Mike Flanagan did, Midnight Mass, where people just monologue, and I'm pretty sure people got cast based on how well they can listen to monologues. But this is the one scene in the movie where he's forced to sit there and listen to somebody. And the camera's on him a lot. You see his eyes move, you see his reactions. It's probably the most personality you get out of him in the entire movie, as she's drinking delicious scotch. Whiskey without an E. Whiskey. All right. Yeah, but I love it. I love the killer. Tilda Swinton. Put her in everything.
I mean, she's phenomenal.
Oh, she's so good. All right. What's your next one?
The Dead Don't Die.
Oh. Hey.
Anyway. My next award. These drones are not very good. Award. These are mostly a lot of things that I come up with, and then I tack award on the end, or best in the front of. From the Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the prequel to the Hunger Games, in which we see one of the early, the 10th Hunger Game, where they're trying to revitalize interest in it, and Coriolanus Snow comes up with some ideas, has a little bit of a love dalliance over there, but during these games, this is where they bring in the infamous drones that'll drop things off that happen later in the later Hunger Games, but they just kept running into each other, crashing into stuff. And Jason Schwartzman, again, very funny.
Yep.
And he notates on air that they're not very good drones.
It's such good line reading. And between this and Asteroid City, he had a good year.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I wouldn't even call these drones 1.0. These are drones 0.003.
Yeah.
Like, they're bad drones.
They're not good.
They're deadly drones.
Right.
It's a good plot device. But that was funny that he at least said it. Because they had to put them... I guess they had to put the drones together pretty quickly, though.
True. Yeah, they had to put together everything because they were while the games were happening.
They had to pivot. But yeah, we laughed. We laughed really hard. We were in a hotel room watching that. We had a good laugh. That was good. All right, so I'm going to go with the movie you watch first. Mm-hmm. It's a Kino Lorber film, but it's Scrapper. Oh. And, Harris Dickinson and Lola Campbell are great. It was a hit at Sundance. But
Harris Dickinson, what a year he's having.
Oh, yeah. That and Iron Claw. Like, he tore it up. And then last year, Triangle of Sadness. But you know what? I found out something interesting about this movie. This was originally supposed to be a Guy Ritchie type film where the father and daughter owe people money. And it's like very Guy Ritchie geezery.
Oh.
And so they have to work together and steal and do that.
I don't like that.
But during the pandemic, she started thinking about grief. And, she lost so during the pandemic, the director, Charlotte Reagan, she lost her dad and her beloved grandma, who used to take her to a ton of movies. So she started thinking about grief and how kids cope with grief. And it's like, just because I found I was consuming all these adult books about grief, and I was like, oh, it's just too logical. I don't want to go through the 8 stages. And she thought about kid psychology and how they deal with grief, because it's not logical and how they deal with it. And I love, too, that the girl who, Lola Campbell, when she auditioned, she sent in this rambling thing where she just talked about home bargains and the deals there. And so for the rest of the movie, like the rest of casting, Charlotte Reagan's like, I want the home bargains girl. We got to get the home bargains girl. Mm-hmm. So she didn't even read the line. She just became the home bargains girl, and then they cast her. But then when she showed up, she wasn't really good in screening because she had been at home for the last couple of years, and she was good on TikTok and filming, but not on set. Mm. So they had to protect her to make sure she didn't shut down during rehearsals, so during filming. So she had to really guard her performance. But the whole award is Best Walking. So it's a scene where she's walking down one street, and then her dad's walking down the other side, Harris Dickinson, and he's doing a bunch of silly stuff. But it's my favorite walking of 2023.
I love the bike grifting, especially at the very beginning of the film, when her and her friend are trying to boost someone's bike and then they get caught. And just some random woman whose bike that is, they start telling her, oh, we were inspecting the bike. It's got some you want me to be honest with you? It's very funny for a kid to have come up with that story.
He's a good kid.
And then at the end, it really got me when he picks her up and he's swinging her around at the basketball court, and she's just laughing and like a big deep chuckle, which it reminded me so much of you and Mallory, and it just was like, oh.
That was the cutest little laugh. She's like, you didn't get far. I like that bit. I love Scrapper, and I've recommended it to a lot of people, and a lot of people like it.
Oh my gosh, at the end when they go, you didn't get far, and she's like, well, I figured I already know you, and I can't really not know you now. So good.
It's, oh yeah, I want to know you but she was very knowing. She's like, you didn't get far. Very smart kid. Precocious. But good movie kid. Mm-hmm. All right, what's your next award?
Okay, my next award. Best passing the banana scene from Ferrari.
Oh.
It was so they're in the middle of the race, through the Italian countryside, and there's one of the pit stops in a city. And they hand the race car driver a banana, and he takes a bite, maybe? He hands it back to the pit crew, and then they look around and hand it to some children behind them. It's just very funny, this progression. It's like, yeah, I'll take that banana, but I don't really want it. Well, the pit crew doesn't want it either, so they hand it to some fans.
Who are really happy about it.
But this is a dedicated scene. There's a good, 15 seconds focused on this banana stuff, and it's just, that's a lot of time to dedicate to a random bit. In the movie Ferrari.
How good is Dempsey in this movie? He doesn't have the biggest role, Patrick Dempsey. He's in this and Thanksgiving, and he's having a good year. But he's just so good in this. He's cheeky, and he's funny, and he's... Oh, I love it. I have best eyebrow raise from this movie, because Penelope Cruz does an eyebrow raise.
Oh, in the beginning.
Legendary.
The tomb for their son, yeah. I think that Adam Driver is just so entertaining as Enzo Ferrari.
Ferrari keeps getting better in my memory, and I loved it when we watched it. And some people say that doesn't pick up until the end. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, the human interactions in this movie
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we were watching it. We tend to watch a lot of movies after our daughter goes to bed, and sometimes we can't really make it through the whole movie. And I remember not wanting to stop the movie to go to bed. I knew I needed to go to bed, but I didn't want to stop because I wanted to know what was going to happen next with the interpersonal relationships between Shailene Woodley's Lena Lardy and Penelope Cruz's Laura Ferrari. I wanted to know. I want to know the details. It was getting juicy.
And all the just...
Enzo Ferrari. Oh my gosh, so funny.
Michael Mann is great. And the way that they captured the racing is just beautiful. Between that and Gran Turismo, it's been a good year for practically filmed racing scenes.
Oh, Gran Turismo just looks good.
It looks beautiful.
It's way long for me, personally, but it looks good.
You know, David Harbour's just way too good for that movie.
So good in that movie.
He could have phoned. He puts his heart and soul into that. There's a scene where he's just lecturing the kid, who's also in Saltburn, who's having a good year. But just watching Harbour pour everything he had into a scene from Gran Turismo. But it's a movie. The racing looks beautiful. I love it. So we're talking about racing movies, and then we're switching to the best usage of Avril Lavigne's Complicated.
Okay.
And that goes to Bottoms from director Emma Seligman. Also, Rachel Sennot's in it, and then Ayo Ebadiri is in it. And it's just the dumbest movie. But, they came up with it on when they were in NYU. So they talked about it when they were in NYU together. And I just love that. Like, there's car bombs, there's C4, there's mascots, there's pineapple juice. Like, it's like a sex comedy, but like they came up with it many years ago on the whiteboard of their NYU basement. So this is a movie they planned on making when they were all in NYU, and they made it happen. And I love that Seligman said that the Bottoms is impossible to explain, but she's like, yeah, it's a teen sex comedy, but they're queer girls. They're like, that's their plot. Like, that's the elevator pitch. But they start a fight club.
But then it goes completely off the rails.
And they lied about going to GV and murdering people. And then they start a fight club so they can hook up with the cheerleaders.
But then
there's
the whole plot thing about the football game in which the losing team
kills somebody.
Kills people, and it goes bananas.
That's smart, though. They gave
Speaking of bananas.
It has a very simple elevator pitch, so you could explain it as a high concept movie. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's teen sex comedy with queer girls. Like, that's what the director said. But
yeah.
No, it goes away from it. But it's just so funny. And we love Rachel Sennott in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And in this one, she's just unhinged. And it's wonderful. So even Cindy Crawford's daughter is good in it. Like, she has a fun role. She just wants to make arts and crafts. And she's tired of people objectifying her.
Oh, yeah. She's the hot girl. And she just wants to be herself.
I'm a successful business person. Let me be. But no, I just love it. I love that this was a movie they came up with while in school at NYU. And they made it happen. And I just respect that. So I want to read a couple more I got a couple more. So David Cross, he sent me some random awards. He wrote Most Surprising Spin Kick, and that's Scott Adkins and John Wick 4.
Ooh.
Best Usage of a Potato as a Weapon. That's Michelle Rodriguez from Dungeons and Dragons. He's like, Best On-Screen Use of a Vespa. That's Russell Crowe in The Pope's Exorcist. As we call him, Scooter Crow. Joey Lewandowski did Best Educator, Marshawn Lynch as Mr. G in Bottoms. Best Bird, the Pigeon in Showing Up. Best Model 3 Generative Android, Megan from Megan. Best Dance Scene, Margaret Qualley in Sanctuary. And Best Retro Future Tech, The Fingernail Machine in Fingernails. And John Sizemore, I'm going to read his real quick. He had No Hard Feelings. Most Unique Use of a Chinese Finger Trap. Oh, man. The Killer, I love The Killer, Best Product Placement, Amazon Dropbox. It really is. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Best Use of Magic Tricks. Cruise is doing a lot of up-close magic in that.
Yeah, he really was. We called that out.
Ant-Man would be...
So impressed.
Yeah. Oppenheimer, Best Use of Sunscreen, which I love. And then Best Use of the band Blackstreet, that's Leave the World Behind. And he had a mini meltdown when the song came on early in the film, which is awesome. So yeah, that's some more random awards. And thank you for sending these in, but what do you got now, Meg? What's your next one?
Okay, my next one. Best Gaggle of Old Ladies Sniffing a Suitcase from The Boy and the Heron. We were so lucky to be able to get this Hayao Miyazaki film this year from Studio Ghibli. Very exciting. And what a delight it was.
It's delightful.
Yeah.
And
about grief and loss and moving on, and just, it's a super quirky fantasy movie, and it's just wonderful.
A lot of parakeet work.
Yeah.
But it's about, like, you've built this thing, but should we keep it going?
My son is a budgie now.
should we keep it going, right?
Right.
Should we
continue harmful traditions and not break down those things? Does it make sense to keep them going? Are they hurtful to us?
What a good movie. Miyazaki. He's back. And that movie's made over 100 million worldwide.
Good. It deserves respect. It is beautiful. I just love the sort of watercolor painting of backgrounds, and it's just such an open look and not, nowadays they try to make animation very realistic, and this is much more like watching a piece of art.
I would say so for sure. But you know what's nice? Is Robot Dreams Across the Spider-Verse and this all have very interesting animation styles. It's nice. Mm-hmm. It's nice watching people get real adventurous with their animation. It made me happy. Also, what's that movie? Elemental had some really nice moments.
Oh, yeah. Elemental had some really pretty, wide city shots of the glowing elements and the cityscapes.
And our buddy George is in it from the half of it, and Nancy Drew.
Oh my gosh, yeah. She has such a great animation voice, like a very deep, husky female voice.
I just like watching George succeed. She's cool.
Me too.
I like her.
I love Nancy Drew.
So I got an award for you, Meg. Wim Wenders did a movie called Perfect Days, and it's a Best Shadow Tag award. And so what I love about... I
love Perfect Days.
Yeah, so Koji Hokusho stars as Hirihama, and they call him an aging hipster who just likes the simple things in life. And the director of Wim Wenders, he's like, I do know that I have no cynicism in me, as I'm incapable of cynicism. And he doesn't want cynicism. So when he makes these movies, he wants to have an absence of cynicism. And it's just really kind of cool. Like his principles of filmmaking, he's like, there are blissful driving scenes set to a cassette tape soundtrack, vividly drawn side characters who puncture the protagonist's serenity, and exchanges that imbue the story with genuine existential weight. And there's a scene in the movie where he meets this man who's the ex-husband of the woman who owns a bar that Hirihama goes to. Mm-hmm. And during the scene, he's like, you want to play shadow tag? And the two of them at night have a beer together next to like the water, and they just chase each other around. Two guys, maybe in their 70s, 60s? Yeah,
at first his companion there just is, he thinks it's a little silly, you think? And then he just gets really competitive, and it's great.
They're chasing each other around, trying to stomp on each other's shadows, and they get out of breath. And it's a movie that, it's serene. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful moment. And you know what's interesting? So Wim Wenders, he's like, I got this letter from Koji last New Year's. This was after the night I told my wife how much I was homesick for Tokyo, and that it was a crying shame that we hadn't been there for years. And then Koji said, why don't you come to Tokyo and look at these little marvels of toilets built by great architects, and perhaps make some short documentaries about them. So the whole idea of this movie came around these beautiful bathrooms, public restrooms that were built around Tokyo by architects all over the world. And so instead of just filming them and learning about them, he had Hirihama drive around and clean them and show them off while showcasing his daily life. It's just great. It's like such a perfect days, such a perfect movie. But just, every morning he gets his coffee from the machine, and he goes and gets a water, and it's just... In the afternoon, he listens to his music. And he has his plants. It's just... And he reads his books, and he goes to the bookstore, and his niece comes. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Perfect. Okay, Meg. I have 2 left, so that means... How many do you have? Do you have 1 left? No, you have 2 left. I have 2 left, and then a handful of quick reads. I love it. Because they're not going to go unsaid. They're too fun. I just loved so many movies this year. Okay, what am I going to pick here as my main ones to talk about? Just because I feel like it deserves more attention, even though I see it now popping up in stuff for people to watch. But best, I didn't even know which one to give this one. Best fake K-pop band and internet friends from Joyride. I watched this movie on a plane. Maybe I shouldn't have watched it on a plane. It's quite raunchy. It was a surprise to me. It is your classic 90s dude road trip sex comedy, but it's a bunch of Asian women. And it is so fun and refreshing because it's a lot of girl humor. And they're just allowed to be funny and raunchy, and it's fantastic. Yeah, it's road trip, but... Right, there's, they go to a place, something bad happens, then they have to figure something out, then... their transportation gets taken from them and they encounter some guys and there's all these
just funny things. But the K-pop band, at one point, they realize that they're in China and they need to go to Korea and they don't have their passports anymore. Oh, that would have been another funny award on the train.
Best drug dealer?
Right. And they decide that they're going to impersonate a K-pop band because they don't need passports. They'll just breeze right onto a private jet. And Deadpan, one of the actresses, Sabrina Wu, uses her internet friends to get them a entourage. And then they do a whole music video impromptu in the airport hangar. And someone flashes everyone and Stephanie Shu gets in trouble.
Her demon tattoo.
Yeah.
That was, just the whole group of them I like. I love all four of them. And seeing vacation friends on a train as a drug dealer is really funny too. But
oh my gosh.
I just dig, but I love cars break down. They get kicked out. It's very stereotypical road trip, but that's perfect because you just allow more times for characters in that. I like between Bottoms and Joyride, we had two kind of stereotypical road trip comedies
like
or sex
90s
comedies.
Dude films, but now they're ladies.
But they're done wonderfully.
Oh, for sure.
Like they're stunts. Oh, I love it. It makes me happy.
I came home and I just told you all about it, and then we had to watch it.
Okay, so I'm gonna do best chase scene, and that's from Godzilla Minus One when Godzilla's chasing the minesweeping boat because it's one of the best visuals of 2023. And I read something interesting though. So the director Takashi Yamazaki, he said that. What he wants is, I wanted Godzilla to feel like the physical embodiment of a kind of negative energy tied to people's fears, worries, and disillusionment. We humans, we're not necessarily there to kill Godzilla. We're there to calm him. Minus One is about putting a name and face to something scary and inviting the audience to calm that negative presence through the shared experience of watching the film. Like, it's interesting. He's like, he wanted Godzilla to represent our fears and worries and disillusionment. That's why I love the Japanese Godzilla movies. Is the 54 one represents the nuclear age and the atomic bomb. Shin Godzilla is all about the evolving monster and how science and government can defeat it and using your brain. Our monsterverse is just Godzilla's old as crap. He's tired and he goes and fights monsters. And then humans mess stuff up. And then there's another world that's upside down under our world. And I love it. But I like that they use, I like in Japan how they use Godzilla as more of a negative energy or a representation of nuclear war. Like they explore grief and things much better in the Japanese creature features. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but that chase scene's badass.
Yeah, I love it. It is so great how it comes together. And it's just a great movie. It was stressful. It was tense. The score was fantastic.
Yeah.
And the story was stressful.
Very stressful. And a lot of grief, though. Like, just, you like the characters, you like the people on the boat. But I was also put Sinking of a Kaiju and then Best Rising of a Kaiju. But it's just such a fun movie.
Yeah, so, there's grief and shame and honor and moving on and living for something.
It's good.
After, all those terrible times.
Like, I feel like every giant monster movie, someone sacrifices themselves. And this one, it's like, no, live. Live. Like, don't murder yourself. It's very good. Okay, so what's your last one?
Oh, no, this isn't good. What do I want to talk about, though? Okay, I'm just going to go with, because there's some movies on here that I really enjoy, but I was actually quite surprised. Best Emotional Guards in Wonka. I didn't really want to watch this movie, and then we put it on, and I just found myself continuously laughing at different bits in it.
That bit.
The whole cast, they were all collectively fantastic together.
Simon Faraday, though, he's a great guard in Paddington 2 with his coffee drinking. And then this one he gets a chocolate that, starts with wine.
It's the, wasn't it the Night Out?
The Night Out.
Chocolate where it's like, it tastes like champagne and you feel good and then you get all emotional and you call up some like lover of yours and vent out your feelings and whatnot. But then it comes back later that the lady guard that he's into, she gets some of the chocolate and she goes through the exact same thing and wants to call him. So it's very funny.
Oh, just watching him in silhouette as he goes through the emotions with the bourbon and all that. And you know what I love about Wonka is this isn't a movie about him learning how to make chocolate. He already knows how to make chocolate. He's been on the seas for 7 years learning how to make chocolate.
Yeah, he makes fantastic chocolate. He's trying to distribute it now and get a store and establish a way to get it out to more people. But he's in this sort of chocolate monarchy where they've kept it from people because the church, they're addicted.
Yeah.
The cardinals are addicted to the chocolate and the police chief is addicted. And it's all such a silly story.
Keegan-Michael Key, I've gained like 150 pounds.
Oh my gosh, he's fun. Jim Carter from Downton Abbey.
Oh, they're so good.
Matt Lucas. Olivia Colman is obsessed with her jailer handyman guy who's got vaguely Swedish tones to him. I'm not quite sure.
And he shows off his legs and thighs.
Right.
For her.
In some lederhosen.
Oh gosh. But it's just refreshing that he already knows how to make chocolate. Like he's there. Like Wonka is. And I dig that about him. Also, I mean, after Paddington and Paddington 2, we should just trust Paul King moving forward. You know, I was talking to Jay too. This was kind of after the Paddington movies, he got to make what he wanted. So he made this. And I think this is one of the rare blank check movies that is really good. I think when directors get a check to make whatever they want, the results aren't great. Or they're good, but they're not box office success, like Babylon, or Beau is Afraid, or The Silence.
True.
Irishman, that Noah's Ark movie, The Happening.
A bunch of Netflix movies.
Yeah, and because the White Noise. Like, I just don't think that they are successful, but I think this might be one of the best blank check movies ever made.
Yeah, I was kind of cynical about it, and then it was just, I mean, you had to know, though, the writers from Paddington, it's just going to be very heartwarming and funny, and there were lots of good jokes. There was a death by chocolate joke. There were a whole bunch of random funny bits that made me smile.
So good. And all right, so I'm gonna get my last random awards out of the way, and that's from Jay Cluitt, who loves this movie. And so he wrote Best Walking Over a Big Rock, and that's Ray-Jean Page in Dungeons and Dragons. Worst Posture goes to Aquafina from Quiz Lady. And Best Homage to the cliff scene in The Lost World, and that's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Jay loves the Jurassic Park movies, so we added that in there. And then, so for my last one, I'm going to go not Swiss Army Man, not The Lighthouse. The Best Farts in an A24 movie award
oh my God.
Go to Dream Scenario. And you know what's really interesting is Adam Sandler was originally supposed to be in this movie, but Adam Sandler turned it down, which would have made it a different film.
Very different.
When the director, Christopher Borgli, he was talking about this movie, and he almost had Adam Sandler in this, but I guess when he wrote it and let people read it, a lot of people were like, listen, that scene where Paul, played by Nicolas Cage, prematurely ejaculates while farting, lost him. It's like a lot of people, like a lot of people were like, this movie's gone. This movie's done. This is when the movie lost me. And then he's like, I doubted so much writing cum fart jokes. But the thing is, like, I had people read the script and like, no, that's where it fell off. But I do believe I found a kindred spirit in Nicolas Cage. I think he said something like, why not 3 farts in it? And it's just such, oh man, it's such like a funny moment when he, because he's in people's dreams, and this woman, Molly, played by Dylan Galula, who's also in a movie called Shithouse, which I love, which also has a very random sex scene that's very uncomfortable. But she's trying to kind of recreate this dream sequence of him. She's much younger, but instead of like living up to anything, Nicolas Cage just farts and prematurely ejaculates. And it's absolutely hilarious. And he said it was like one of the first things that like he wrote the movie about. And the director, Borgli, he had to go into another room when they were shooting it. And when they're editing it, he had to leave the room because he laughed so hard during the scene. But and he's like, also farting has a place in art house movies. Like Claire Denis, like Shots of Rum, like, The Master, Paul Thomas Anderson. There's all farts in those movies.
The Lighthouse is 50% farts.
These farts! But yeah, it's just a good movie. And I just love all the farting. Like, it's just, Nick Cage does it perfectly. It's so perfect, but he just farts.
It is. He just really plays it well. It's like, super weird.
Read this. Paul prematurely ejaculates while also farting. It's Nick Cage. And he's such a squirrely guy in this movie.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love him.
Well, the thing we talked about this at length. He doesn't actually he's a decent guy. He's a good dad. He doesn't really do anything wrong, but it's the whole thing about cancel culture and like everyone's just intent on canceling him for things he didn't do. And it's just it's funny.
Very funny, but I feel terrible for him.
Right.
But he's an idiot, but I love it. All right. So Meg, what are your other awards you want to read about?
Okay, real quick. Destiny has brought me this Lamb Chop Award from Napoleon. Ridley Scott's Napoleon. I just feel like people didn't get it. It was meant to be funny.
Yeah. And it's made 200 million worldwide, but it's a comedy. He's an idiot in it.
He's a complete idiot.
Destiny brought me this pork chop. He's such a dipshit in it.
Oh, yeah.
He's so good.
Stop Running and Let the Flurkins Eat You Award from the Marvels. Listen, it was entertaining. It wasn't a complete movie. It definitely feels like a lot got chopped out, but there is a entire scene dedicated to baby Flurkins eating people, and how can you not love that?
It's like an A+.
Kittens yakking in a spaceship. Give this to me. Oh, why haven't I seen this before?
It's hilarious.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Get in. I have a surprise. Poor Things.
Oh man.
I could talk about this movie for a long time. It really just got me. There's this whole like female autonomy and rage thing that I really just connect with. But get in. I have a surprise.
Oh man. And best gut punches.
Oh Mark, yeah. Lots of gut punches.
He's a great lover, but he's got a soft gut. I feel like that's his weak spot, right?
The I Should Have Been a Dancer award from watching the Eras tour. There's a point in the Midnights era when I feel like all of her dancers are wearing Louboutin boots and jealous. Why wasn't I a dancer? I should have done that. And then I didn't watch this whole movie, to be quite honest. You were watching it and I think it was doing dishes or making food. Best opera for Fish and Crabs from Chevalier. It's just such a great line.
Yeah, that was wonderful. He's so good. I love that. I need to watch Cyrano again. Cyrano. All right. Any more?
Those are my fast awards.
Okay, so my fast ones are Best Ending of the Year award goes to Full Time.
Oh, yeah.
Most Inspired Jacket Push award goes to Thanksgiving. Best Sawing Off a Leg award goes to Saw 10. Best Bug Punch award goes to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Best Worst Usage of an Axe goes to When Evil Lurks. I want like 50 more of these movies award, A Haunting in Venice. I want more Poirot movies, but like A Haunting in Venice. Best Oyster Eating award goes to Quasi. It's such a weird little movie, but I love it so much. Best Quest for Research award goes to Origin. Best Scotch Whiskey Ordering goes to Emily from Fairplay, who orders a Macallan 25. Best Fake Nut Allergy award goes to Sick of Myself. Best Sean William Scott award goes to Wrath of Becky. Best Kitchen Fight, The Conference. Best Dancing award goes to Passages. Best 2023 quote from a horror film, They Use Dance Against Us from Totally Killer. Best Bathtub Water Drinking goes to Saltburn. Best Sturgill Simpson award goes to Killers of the Flower Moon. Best Moped Riding goes to Pope's Exorcist. Best Fortune Cookie Opening award goes to Fremont. Best Eyebrow Raise, Penelope Cruz. Let's see. Best Bit About Dip. There's a thing in No Hard Feelings where a guy's name is Laird. And Jennifer Lawrence goes like Laird, like the dip, like Laird dip. And he's like, no, like the name. Best Roof Scene award goes to May December. Best Jet Ski Action Scene goes to Meg 2. Best Injured Bird Sense of Shallows goes to Showing Up. Best Crying by a Professional Wrestler award goes to Zac Efron and the Iron Claw. Best Surly Writer award goes to Christian Petzold's A Fire. Best Robot Stuck on a Beach award goes to Robot Dreams. Best Catastrophically Broken People goes to Asteroid City. And I'd hire that guy award from Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. I would totally hire Ahmed. He's incredible. And so, Meg, before we get out here, I just want to tell you about my favorite scenes of the year. And before I do that, I want to say, so I asked Joey L about his Desert Island movies, and he said Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Beau is Afraid, Barbie, and Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour, which is really smart. And so for our favorite scenes of the year, Zanandi said the alien reveal in Asteroid City, the beach fight in No Hard Feelings, the Adderall kill in Blackening, when the Bard spell breaks in D&D, and every scene with Fox in Paris and They Clone Tyrone, which is wonderful. And then we have, let's see, I have a few more comments here. So Tony Coogan said the Trinity Test from Oppenheimer, the Depression Barbie from Barbie, Memory from the Marvels, the Chase with the Spider Society, the Noble Pelican, Boy and the Heron. He also wrote Camp Isn't Home from Theater Camp, the karaoke scene from Rye Lane, which is awesome, where the vampires hang out, Blackberry, and Waiting for the Uber in Past Lives. Jesse Deal said Chris Hemsworth, his favorite scene was Chris Hemsworth versus a helicopter on a moving train from Extraction 2, which I love. And I'm going to find my favorite scenes real quick, just to go. I know we're going long, but we're here, and we got you. This episode's we've only gone an hour and 5 minutes. That's very short. So I'm going to find my favorite scenes of the year, and I am going to read them to you, because they are not far away.
I would just like to shout out to Zanandi's handwritten horror lists.
Yeah.
I loved those.
Okay, my favorite 2023 movie scenes. So full-time final scene, Perfect Days, Shadow Tag, John Wick 4, he uses a motorcycle to kill a motorcycle henchman, which is beautiful. Insidious 5, I Made the Wall. Murder Mystery 2, now they're just showing off. They Clone Tyrone, elevator scene. Asteroid City, catastrophically wounded people. All of Us Strangers, restaurant scene. El Conde, the overhead shot, that's incredible. Sisu, the airplane attack. Bottoms, football field fight. Fremont, opening a fortune cookie. And Past Lives, waiting for the cab. So those are my favorite 2023 scenes. We did it.
Yeah, we did.
Well, this was
All
fun.
right, you better start your list for the mid-year.
Yeah. we can do it. But this was fun, and thank you for talking with me. We covered a lot of ground. We covered a lot of 2023, all in 67 minutes.
We covered a lot of contributors.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone who contributed their lists, everyone who sent in random awards, and everyone who commented on Movies, Films, and Flicks and Twitter, or just sent us messages via DM. Just shot us cool messages. So we really appreciate it. And please reach out to us. Let us know what you want to hear in 2024. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Megan Hoffmeyer, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week, but not before Megan and I give one 2023 movie that you have to watch.
Wait, see you next year.
See you next year. Megan, what's one 2023 movie?
Oh, man, that's evil to spring it on me like that. Come on now.
One.
It's gonna be...
Full time.
Zone of Interest.
All right, Zone of Interest and
But
full
I feel
time.
like that's tough because are people going to appreciate what was done there?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, Zone of Interest. Go read some articles first.
Zone of Interest, full time. Perfect. All right, see you next week, y'all.
Perfect Days. Watch that one too.
Oh, yeah. And Asteroid City. And Fist of the Condor.
And They Clone Tyrone.
Bye.